Can you quilt over Sashiko stitches? Almost everyone says no, but today I'm going to show you when you actually can and when you definitely shouldn't. I saw this question on Facebook. In this video, I'll show you different examples, the challenges, and some creative solutions to make it work. I'm going to free motion quilt over this Sashiko. Do you think it'll work? On Facebook, the answer from most people was a firm no. So let's see. So I'm demonstrating here how I would quilt some Sashiko on some navy blue fabric. I've got navy blue thread and I have a small sample here, and I'm just going to do a little, and you'll see I'm just ignoring the fact that this Sashiko here and just quilting in a normal meandering kind of a style, and then we'll take a look at it. I think that's enough that you can see. You see the indentations from the quilting, but it doesn't affect the Sashiko pattern. The navy blue stitching really doesn't make any difference to the quilting that I'm doing. I'm going to see if I can shine a better light on that so you can see better. You see that better now? The most important thing is to match up the thread. So this is the navy that I'm using. So this kind of an example, this is one time when you could quilt on Sashiko. On this example, I just used this white synthetic kind of batting. What would really be best would be this black. This one is, let's see, Dream Poly, and it's much more like the cotton style batting that I usually use. On this I specifically used the high loft or thicker batting. The effect it makes shows you better where the machine stitching line is. I thought that would help you to see the quilting better. This kind of batting, that's the more natural cotton and wool or cotton mix in white, I try not to use that on Sashiko on a dark fabric, because if it pulls the little bits of fibre through to the front, that can mar your work, so I don't usually use that. If I'm going to use white, I will use this synthetic one, although I much prefer the black. I'm really not very fond of this synthetic kind of batting. Here's an example where quilting over Sashiko worked well. The stitches blend in and the quilting doesn't interfere with the design. I carefully matched the navy thread with the background, and on these two quilts it blends in with the other colours, so it works well. There are other times where machine quilting won't work and you need to find another solution. On a quilt like this, what would you do? The centre is blue Sashiko on white. White machine quilting would work fine on that section. But some of these other areas are white on navy. My solution for this was hand quilting, so I could use the right colour in the right area. It doesn't show well, but you can see that it doesn't mar the Sashiko. With applique in two colours and Sashiko, then the quilting is always going to show. In this case, I did the Sashiko through the top and through the batting. This is an example of that technique where I've done the Sashiko through the batting. You can't see the stitches very well, you can see the indentation more and where I've carried the thread. If I make this into a quilt, when I put the backing on, the only machine quilting it'll need is around the edges of each block. The Sashiko is what's holding the batting to the fabric. Here, when I added the backing, I hand quilted through all layers, but I avoided the applique. And the hand quilting is also in a Sashiko design. On this sample, you can see that hand quilting gives you more options. On this appliqued piece, I don't want to use the same colour as I'm doing the rest of the navy blue fabric in, because if I do, the stitching is going to really show, and seeing that pattern is going to take away from the white Sashiko thread that I've done on here. For this particular one, I would use a matching thread for the applique, and whatever pattern I wanted to do on it, I would just hand quilt it in the same colour. And not only that, but you have more control over where you put in the stitches. So here, for example, I could do a stitch that goes over the white, but I could also just miss the white. And that way you're sure that you're not going to do anything that spoils the pattern that you've put onto the Sashiko. Now on this one I'm just going around the edge here, but it doesn't really matter what pattern you're doing. You can always just do that slightly longer stitch to avoid the white thread if you want to. I would continue to do whatever hand quilting pattern I wanted on that colour. The hand quilting doesn't show very much, and it doesn't make any difference to the white Sashiko. And then I also have some navy blue threaded here so that you can see that too. And I have a lot of Sashiko in this area, or a different pattern. And so it depends what pattern again I wanted to do. I'm just going to do a straight line here and not really look at pattern at all. So again, the navy carefully matches the navy cotton carefully matches the navy blue fabric. Again, I can just avoid sewing over the white stitches, just vary the length of my stitch very slightly. And again, the stitching just really disappears into the background. And so I think hand quilting is a good answer in a lot of cases. And you know, I think that some people like to hand quilt. I do like to hand quilt actually. And probably if you like to do Sashiko, you like to do hand work. And so you probably do like to, would enjoy hand quilting as well. So, as I say, for many reasons, hand quilting is an option that you could use on a project like this. The background fabric is black, but there are multiple colours. The centre is a Sashiko panel, but there's other areas of Sashiko all over the quilt. Now, I probably could have machine quilted this in black, but this was the challenge. It's a double-sided quilt, and this panel is the centre back. In just this panel area, I used invisible thread and hand quilted. It shows, but it's not too obtrusive, and doesn't show on the Sashiko side. Other areas are hand quilted in black. It doesn't show up that well on camera though. Or you could let the Sashiko be the quilting. Traditional Sashiko was often used in layers like quilting, so sometimes it is all you need. I did a quilt as you go method, combining Sashiko and some hand quilting in different areas. So, can you quilt over Sashiko? The answer is it depends. Sometimes it works beautifully, sometimes it's tricky. With the right techniques you can make something work. What do you think? Would you try quilting over it, or do you prefer to keep them separate? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.